Worried about gout? Check out Ural, the effective urinary alkalinizer. Ural, neutralize your uric acid problem now.
This is KiniNews and I'm your host Prasad. The Orang Asli in Kelantan are fearing for their lives because they say logging is pushing tigers closer to them. In fact, one Orang Asli was even killed by a tiger recently. But the Kelantan Forestry Department says cutting down trees is actually good for the tiger population. Kelantan Forestry Department Director Abdul Khalim Abu says deforestation is actually good for tigers. He claimed that after an area is deforested, new vegetation will grow which will encourage the presence of new animal species that serve as food to tigers. Speaking at a press conference in Gua Musang today, he said this was based on expert research. He added that the tiger population will become larger when small trees grow in deforested areas. He said this would make it easier for tigers to hunt their prey. In contrast, he claimed that it was difficult for tigers to find prey in forest reserves. Abdul Khalim was asked to respond to complaints that logging operations are threatening the tiger population and also putting them in conflict with humans. The Orang Asli community in Kelantan blamed a recent tiger attack on the loss of habitat due to logging. On January 7th, an Orang Asli was mauled to death by a tiger near Pos Bihai, Gua Musang. Schools in the area were also closed amid claims of more tiger sightings. The Orang Asli community claimed that deforestation in Gua Musang had driven tigers closer to human settlement as they have lost their habitat. A PKR lawmaker's aides have been charged for corruption for a crime they allegedly committed in 2017. The MP has questioned the timing of the charges after he raised Azam Baki's share ownership in Parliament. Sungai Buloh MP R. Sivarasa's current and former aide have been charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court for corruption. They are Sivarasa's Service Centre Manager K.R. Navin and former staff Nico Kam Ju Ho. Navin is also Sivarasa's nephew. According to Cosmo, they pleaded not guilty to 3 charges of soliciting and receiving bribes. In the first charge, they are accused of soliciting 55,000 ringgit from Bangladeshi national Mono Mia Sidikur Rahman for not reporting his firm of illegally bringing in foreign workers to the immigration department. In the second charge, they are accused of agreeing to accept 45,000 ringgit for not reporting the firm, Syarikat Daina Maintenance Services in Durian Berhad. In the third charge, they are accused of receiving 20,000 ringgit for not reporting the matter. The incident was alleged to have taken place in 2017 at 2 restaurants in Taman Maluri, Cheras. They face up to 20 years of imprisonment and a fine of up to 5 times the alleged bribe. They were both released on 10,000 ringgit bail. The duo was arrested by the MACC in September 2017, but no charge were brought against them at the time. There were no further developments to the matter until yesterday when Sivarasa revealed that his nephew would be charged. Lim Kit Siang wants the Prime Minister to step in and slammed the MACC for being petty. DAP veteran leader Lim Kit Siang has slammed the MACC for allegedly going on a personal vendetta against an opposition lawmaker. Lim said MACC is completely obnoxious and unacceptable for targeting Sungai Buloh MP R. Sivarasa for speaking up in Parliament on the share ownership scandal linked to MACC chief Azam Baki. This comes after Sivarasa claimed that the MACC was retaliating against his service centre. Sivarasa said his service centre's manager, K.R. Navin, who is also his nephew, was summoned by the MACC last Friday. Navin was informed that he will be charged with a corruption offence over an incident 4 years ago. The PKR lawmaker maintained that the allegation was false, malicious and without basis, deeming it to be a personal vendetta. In the same statement, Lim suggested that the Sungai Buloh MP should lodge a report with the Parliamentary Rights and Privileges Committee on the matter. Lim also urged Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob to ensure that the MACC is not used to pursue a personal vendetta against Sivarasa. Previously, Sivarasa had filed an urgent motion seeking the Dewan Rakyat to discuss Azam's alleged ownership of close to 2 million shares in a publicly listed company. Sivarasa had noted that public servants are barred from owning more than 100,000 ringgit worth of shares in any company. UMNO President Ahmad Zaid Hamidi has been ordered to enter defence in 47 charges. Former Deputy Prime Minister Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has to enter his defence in 47 counts of criminal breach of trust, bribery and money laundering. This is linked to tens of millions of ringgit of funds from Yayasan Akal Budi. The UMNO president was ordered to do so by the Kuala Lumpur High Court this morning. Trial judge Colin Lawrence Sukera ruled that the prosecution has established a prima facie case against Zahid. Following the verdict, Defence Counsel Hisham Tehpothek informed the court that Zahid has chosen to give sworn evidence from the witness stand during the defence stage of the trial. Meanwhile, several Zahid supporters were seen at the court entrance. BN's strong performance in the last couple of elections has given it the confidence to face the Johor state election all alone. Johor BN has suggested contesting the upcoming Johor state election on its own. It also appears confident of winning 2/3 of the 56 contested state seats. However, Johor BN chairperson Hasni Mohamad said, though the suggestion has been made at the state level, the final decision will be made by the Central BN Supreme Council. Hasni said this after officiating the closing ceremony of the Johor State MIC election briefing in Johor Bahru yesterday. MIC President S.A. Vigneswaran was also present. On a separate matter, Hasni said there was no requirement to obtain other parties' consent to dissolve the State Assembly. This is after allegations were made that the decision to dissolve the State Assembly was made unilaterally without discussions among parties that formed the existing state government. Johor Bersatu Information Chief Muhammad Solihin Badri was earlier reported to have said that the decision to dissolve the State Assembly was made unilaterally. Solihan said the move to do so had sidelined Bersatu and PAS. The state election will witness over 150,000 voters aged 18 to 20 voting for the first time in the country's history. Hasni said BN does not underestimate the voting power of youths in the state election and will have a strategy to obtain their support. Harapan knows if it wishes to stand a chance against BN in Johor, they are going to need to unite all opposition parties. In order to have a fighting chance to defeat UMNO and BN in Johor, Pakatan Harapan will be looking to work with its allies. Pakatan Harapan chairperson Anwar Ibrahim said all opposition parties will be roped in. This includes Pejuang, Warisan and Muda. He said the opposition will contest in all 56 state seats in the upcoming Johor state election.
Tapi ada beberapa persetujuan awal, kita akan membuka ruang, merangkul semua kekuatan pembangkang dan civil society untuk memastikan ada perubahan. Kalau ada sedikit keretakan ini tidak akan membantu. Jadi kita harus ada satu suara, satu tindakan dan satu strategi untuk memastikan kerajaan PN ini dikalahkan bermula di Johor.
Following this, Anwar said Johor Pakatan Harapan would begin its seat negotiations on the ground. Najib Abdul Razak will be seeking help from abroad to argue his SRC appeal. Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak is seeking to appoint a Queen's Counsel from the UK. Najib is applying for the Queen's Counsel to act on his behalf in his appeal to squash his conviction in the 42 million ringgit SRC international corruption case. The former Prime Minister's legal team informed the Apex Court of this during case management of his appeal before the court's registry this morning. The Deputy Public Prosecutor said that as a result, the Apex Court has yet to fix a date to hear Najib's appeal to squash his conviction. On July 28th last year, the Kuala Lumpur High Court delivered the guilty verdict and sentencing following a full trial of 7 charges of abuse of power, criminal breach of trust and money laundering involving 42 million ringgit of funds from SRC. Najib was slapped with a 12-year jail term and fined 210 million ringgit. However, a stay of execution has been granted pending disposal of Najib's appeal to the Court of Appeal. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad, thank you for watching.